Hi, my name is Tatu Laine, and here's a look at Simply SVG. And Simply SVG is a vector graphics tool you can find in the Unity Asset Store. I'm going to show you our example project that comes with the tool, so you have an idea on how and why things work. I'm running our demo game here. The cool thing is that all of the graphical assets here are meshes derived from SVG documents. You can zoom in as much as you like and you won't lose any sharpness. Also, the tool and the game run very well, and for example, all of the colliders work just like you'd expect them to work. So when you have successfully imported Simply SVG to Unity, you will see the Simply SVG folder here. Inside you will find the example folder that holds the demo project of our tool. The internal folder holds the code of the tool, and we generally don't need to go there. Materials folder is for a custom material the Simply SVG component needs. And then there's also four of the components here you will be working with. Now in the settings folder you will find two scriptable objects that hold the settings for the use of the tool. Through the default import settings you can control the scale, quality and pivot points when importing the SVG file into Unity. Note that this only works initially, and once you've created a Simply SVG asset, it will have its own settings and these import settings won't affect them anymore. In the global settings, you can change the default import settings, default material, and the log level about possible importing errors you might encounter. Let's look at the objects found in here. You will find the objects in the mesh filter, of course, but the mesh is derived from the Simply SVG asset. Let's trace this to the original. This is the SVG file, and this is the asset file automatically generated from it. Under this asset, you will find the sub-assets mesh, collision, and settings. Each of these are used for different purposes. Now the mesh just holds the Unity mesh data we've got from the SVG file. The collision sub-asset is used when you want your SVG object to have custom colliders. The settings look familiar already since they are derived from the default import settings. This object now has its own settings and they can be modified here. You can adjust the scale, pivot and quality of the object. The quality affects the triangulation of the object. You can experiment with it to find a sweet spot, like such where quality is as low as possible, but your eye can see the difference. Now let's see what happens when you add an SVG file yourself. The cool thing is that Simply SVG keeps the original SVG file and does not deconstruct it in any way, so you are able to save over that file should you make changes to your images. Now you can just drag and drop the SVG file to the scene. It is a normal combination of a mesh filter and a mesh render with a few added components to help. Colliders are generated automatically for the object, and you can see the attributes in the helper component. This links to the SVG sub-asset. Another thing you'll find is the render properties. That helps you set the rendering order. Easily set your game objects to different sorting layers through here. Another thing we've included in the tool is a utility called render sorter. Now, usually when you do 2D games, you quickly run into the problem of what is on top of what, and with this render sorter, we've made it easier to manage this. It is a very simple script that handles sorting layers based on the child hierarchy of the objects. Let me show you how it works. You set up objects as children, and the top one is going to be drawn first and the bottom one last. Then press sort, or you can set it to sort automatically if you want to have it run also on runtime, but it's at a cost since it's being done on every frame. If I wanted this card to be behind the rock, I would just do this, then press sort, and then let's go back. Now the last example we have is about UIs. We have a simple UI here, just a default canvas with images with it. And here's how you add an UI element. Go to the hierarchy and create a Simply SVG UI element. We can also add a button component for it. And let's assign an SVG for the button, like so. The element respects all the rect transform features and alignments. You can also use the complex hit check if you need accuracy in the touch checks of buttons, if your image is, for example, very complex. So this covers the basic functionalities we have going on with Simply SVG. Be sure to check out simplysvg.com for updates. Also, all feedback is very welcome. Thank you.